Well, good evening.
So sorry for all the delays, but once I get started and the calls start coming in, I don't slow down until way later in the day. But I had done this recording this morning about brothers and sisters in Christ. And I decided to look it up because I love it. I mean, we all are brothers and sisters in Christ. And if we all treated each other like brothers and sisters, I think the world would be such a better place. For instance, I come from a really big family. There were 7 kids in my family. So I know over the years what it's like to not get along. But regardless of whether you're getting along or you're not getting along, or whatever, for whatever reason, you don't always have to like your brothers and sisters, but you do always have to love them. Well, that's what I say anyway. So in Mark 3, it says, "Whoever does the will of God, he is my sister and brother and mother." And in Hebrews, "And now we are brothers and sisters in God's family because of the blood of Christ." In Romans, it says, "So we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members one of another." That's worded really strange. So let's try that again. "And individually members one of another." Here's an interesting one in Galatians. "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." In Matthew it says, "But he replied to the man who told him, 'Who is my mother and who are my brothers?' And stretching out his hand towards his disciples, he said, 'Here are my mother and my brothers and my sister.'" So I'd like to share this story that happened to me in my early 20s. I used to sing at weddings and banquets and things like that, and I would be driving home at like 4 in the morning. So here I was, and I ended up getting lost. This is before GPS. So there I am, and I pull up to this light, and I look to my right, and then I'm looking around to my left thinking, this is not a place I should be, when I hear my car door close. I didn't even hear it open. So why am I hearing it close? And as I turn around, there's this giant man in my car, and he's so big that his neck is cricked to the right so he can fit in my car. And I go, and he goes, and I go, and he goes, because each time we went, we threw our hands up. So we're both doing like jazz hands, and each time scaring each other. And I just started laughing because I'm looking in his eyes, and all I can think of is my little brother Kenny, because he would think that this is so funny. So in my head, I'm thinking, this is clearly not my brother Kenny, and yet I'm looking into his eyeball, and the light behind his eyes is clearly my brother Kenny. And I guess that because I didn't scream and hand him my purse, he didn't know what to do with me. But I'll never forget that moment. And I can still see his eyes in my head. I couldn't describe the rest of him to you, but in my mind, in his eyes, I saw my brother. Today's first reading comes from 1 Samuel 24, 3 through 21. Saul took 3,000 picked men from all Israel and went in search of David and his men in the direction of the wild goat crags. When he came to the sheepfolds along the way, he found a cave, which he entered to relieve himself. David and his men were occupying the inmost recesses of the cave. David's servant said to him, "This is the day of which the Lord had said to you, 'I will deliver your enemy into your grasp. Do with him as you see fit.'" So David moved up and stealthily cut off an end of Saul's mantle. Afterward, however, David regretted that he had cut off the end of Saul's mantle. He said to his men, The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, as to lay a hand on him, for he is the Lord's anointed. With these words, David restrained his men and would not permit them to attack Saul. Saul then left the cave and went on his way. David also stepped out of the cave, calling to Saul, "My lord, the king." When Saul looked back, David bowed to the ground in homage and asked Saul, "Why do you listen to those who say, 'David is trying to harm you'? You see for yourself today that the Lord just now delivered you into my grasp in the cave. I had some thought of killing you, but I took pity on you and said, 'I decided I will not raise a hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed and a father to me. Look here at this end of your mantle which I hold. Since I cut off an end of your mantle and did not kill you, I have done you no wrong, though you were hunting me down to take my life. The Lord will judge between me and you, and the Lord will exact justice from you in my case. I shall not touch you. The old proverb says, 'From the wicked comes forth wickedness,' so I will take no action against you. Against whom are you on campaign, O King of Israel? Who are you pursuing? A dead dog or a single flea? The Lord will be the judge. He will decide between me and you. May he see this and take my part and grant me justice beyond your reach." When David finished saying these things to Saul, Saul answered, "Is that your voice, my son David?" And Saul wept aloud. Saul then said to David, You are in the right rather than I. You have treated me generously, while I have done you harm. Great is the generosity you showed me today, when the Lord delivered me into your grasp and you did not kill me. For if a man meets his enemy, does he send him away unharmed? May the Lord reward you generously for what you have done this day. And now I know that you shall surely be king, and that sovereignty over Israel shall come into your possession." And that is the word of the Lord. Our gospel today comes from Mark 3:13 through 19. Jesus went up the mountain and summoned those who he had wanted, and they came to him. He appointed 12, whom he also named apostles, that they might be with him, and he might send them forth to preach and to have authority to drive out demons. He appointed the 12, Simon, whom he named Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, whom he named Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder, Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. And that is the gospel of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, our Bible promise today comes from Psalm 86:5. You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Keep your eyes on the kingdom and have a great day, everybody.